bit. This is Terry. I'm FSG and Klopp out. If they don't spend at least 300 million, I will seriously consider stop supporting the club. Stop supporting Liverpool? Why?
Since 1985, he's been supporting.
Wow.
Big up Chombe as well. I know him, Chombe. Big up Chombe.
37, 38 years. Would you ever give up supporting Liverpool? What could make you
Nah.
stop being a Liverpool fan?
I've been through a lot. I don't think anything would stop me from being a Liverpool fan. I've seen, listen, if you've survived the Roy Hodgson years, you've survived the crap I have to survive. Like, honestly, if you've survived seeing Ricky Lambert, we went from Suarez, Sturridge, Sterling to Lambert, Balotelli, and Borini. There is nothing I cannot survive. I'm good.
Surviving Lambert. That could be
Yeah.
a TV show, Surviving Lambert. Yeah, look, I listen, how much do you think Liverpool will spend this summer to rectify the problems in your team? Do you think they'll go as high as 300 million?
No, I don't think we'll go as high as 300 million. But you know, the thing is, for me, like, it's getting to the stage where I'm actually more pissed off with a little bit maybe the Liverpool fan base, because like we just set such low expectations for ourselves. You even speak to some Liverpool fans are like, oh my God, you know, next season we should be getting top 4. I'm like, I'm already like 3 points to top 4 anyway. Like what sort of achievement is that? You know, we mentioned earlier on standards and stuff. If you've got the likes of Alisson, Trent, Van Dijk, Fabinho, Salah, etc., Thiago, you don't have that team to get top 4. Because with all due respect, if the objective is top 4, let's sell them all, get a bunch of youngsters, and go get top 4. Like if the objective is top 4, getting top 4, you don't need any world class players. For me, there's a reason why I've always been FSG out. There's a reason why last summer I was probably one of the harshest Liverpool fans on social media on the way the club operated, because I understand that we needed to strengthen and we were just simply arrogant and negligent. And I don't want us to be arrogant and negligent again. I mean, I see McAllister. I'm good. I think McAllister is a great signing. But here's the thing now. It's about the package deal concept. Is the package good or is the package not good? I'm not going to sit up here and, you know, start doing break dances that McAllister is a Liverpool player only for a month later for us to sign Mason Mount and Gravenberch, for example. I think McAllister, Mount and Gravenberch would be an absolutely below average subpar summer that you didn't have to waste 1 year of my life for. Because once again, the conversation is going to be as follows. You guys all mentioned Bellingham. If you wanted to get McAllister, Mount and Gravenberch, why did you waste my whole year then? Why did we waste this season? We could have got them last summer anyway. It's not like any of them were some sort of prize gem possessions. We could have signed all 3. Any player that Liverpool is linked to right now, we could have got last summer, and we could have got last summer for a cheaper price as well. And you know, Liverpool fans like myself are consistently in fights with our own fan base, consistently in fights with, you know, journalists as well, Liverpool journalists. You know, you see people come out after the Leicester game, start talking about, oh my God, you know, we might, Curtis Jones might save us millions. First of all, why you want a billionaire to save millions? I don't know why you're worried about that. Second of all, when will we ever learn to be humble and ambitious? When will we ever learn to actually learn from our mistakes? You see stuff like last summer, Harvey Elliott is like a new signing. This guy is like a new signing. That guy's like a new signing. I'm not about to sit up here and do Curtis Jones as a new signing, because what Curtis Jones has done over the last 5 games does not neglect what has happened over 95% of the season. Make no mistake, if Man United or Newcastle capitulate and we make top 4, we still have failed. And it still is a disastrous season. Because once again, it matters what the objective was. When you employ Mo Salah and Alisson Becker and Trent and Van Dijk and blah, 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 and have Klopp as the manager, you can't end top season fighting for a top 4 when a year before that you were about to achieve football, you know, eternity with what we were going to do. So these are the things that always get on my nerves. People say, Hussam, you're entitled. You should be entitled. You're a Liverpool fan. You know, you've just had your most successful time as a Liverpool fan in your entire lifetime. If you can't be entitled now, when are you supposed to be entitled? So people are just doing the same stuff, you know, kind of the same dumb shit that we were doing last summer already. People are repeating it. Curtis Jones is a new signing. Trent could save Liverpool millions by playing inverted. Like, I'm not interested in saving FSG millions. I'm interested in winning the league. And by the way,
yeah,
next season, I'm not accepting anything less than winning the English Premier League. because you've just wasted my life, a whole season of my life, for no reason whatsoever. You told us all that it's going to be this year, guys. You know, we're going to run it back because we're going to get Bellingham in the summer. Okay, so we don't get Bellingham. So now what? You're going to go get me a bunch of guys I could have signed last summer anyway. So you just wasted the year of my life. And not just the year of my life as a supporter. You've wasted the year of Salah's life in his prime, Alisson's life in his prime, Van Dijk's life in his prime, which is more dangerous, Fabinho's life in his prime, Thiago's life in his prime, which I mentioned all last summer when they called me negative and toxic. And I said, guys, these guys are all 29, 30, 31. This goes back to the Arsenal thing. When you're win now, you're win now. You don't have time for all this build crap, all these buzzwords. You must win now. So for me, I look at this summer, and this summer, the target is very simple. Sign 3 midfielders, sign a center back. And if you do that and you sign proper targets, then you can win the league next season. And this last run has proven it. 9 games in a row. Like, listen, winning 9 games in a row is no easy feat. Like, you've won a third of the Premier League in a row. Like, almost, you know? That's not like some sort of easy thing that any team can do. So it shows we are capable of getting to those levels, but we need to be serious this summer. And the form of Curtis Jones and blah, blah, blah should not change a single thing for this summer. Keep him as the squad option. Use him if you need to rest McAllister for a game. Use him if you want to rest this guy for a game. But I'm not going to sit up here and now build my entire future based on the players that let me down to begin with. That would be silly.
Yeah, listen, mate, I completely agree with you. I think that, obviously, I don't want to see you succeed. I don't want to see that. I want to see Liverpool fail. I'm a Man United fan. But there's also this part of me that looks at the way fans are treated by their clubs, and it rattles me pink. It rattles me pink. And then when I understand this notion of not wanting to always show your ass publicly. And I'm honor, and I think there's an honor there of, like Man United fans right now of our takeover. I feel like on that particular subject, keep your powder dry until we know what's going on. One of the reasons why I'm not going massively in on Sir Jim is that I don't want there to be videos of me saying it's going to be a disaster if it turns out not to be a disaster, because I don't know all the details of his takeover yet. When I know more details, I'll have more of an opinion on the situation. But when you've been, for me, I look at, and I always remember this was before lockdown, before 2020, because I remember talking about this in the last banking job I had, and I used to go outside the office near Marble Arch and do videos from there. So I just remember that location and who I was working for. And I remember the new sponsorship deal with Nike and how it was going to change you financially and all the players you were linked with. And that was around the January of 2019. We're now moving into the summer of 2023. It's 4 years later. And they haven't really, in my opinion, improved your squad enough over that time period. Although you went on sorry, it was the January of 2020. It was the 2019 where you were winning the league and you were at the peak of your powers. And I get at that moment, a lot of Liverpool fans would be like, listen, man, we're top of the league, winning our first league in 30 years. Let's not bring out any negativity. I get that. But that's why I think in those moments, you talk about it softly. That I loved it, a great year, but I really want us to add well this summer and keep building and keep growing. But you go through the 2020 summer, the 2021, the 2022, and anger starts to build. And then when you get the kind of top Reds, or the top Gunners at Arsenal, or the top Reds at Man United, I don't even know what they're called. Proper Chelsea at Chelsea. I don't know what they call it, City or Spurs, but like they've got names everywhere else. When they start coming at you for calling out genuine issues and problems, I don't understand it. I get there's trying not to show your ass and air your dirty linen in public. But if you've kind of gone about it nicely, respectfully for a period and nothing's being listened to, of course, frustration and anger is going to echo. Because for me, I look at my football club as I want it to, as best I can, I want it to kind of reflect how I approach life in terms of how we operate as a club, how we operate as a team. We've all read inspirational books from our sporting heroes, and I want to kind of model my career in terms of behaving that way. And I was literally watching Conor McGregor's show earlier, McGregor Forever, and he was talking about in the build-up to the Khabib fight and how he said he had all these little losses in the build-up to it where he'd be like, I really shouldn't eat this, but I did. I got to go to bed at this time. And he goes, I didn't. I got to get up at this time. I didn't. I need to train at this time of the day. He didn't. And he said he had all these little losses in the build-up to that fight. Part of the reason why he was so disgraceful in that period before the build-up was almost like a projection of, I'm not ready for this. So I'm going to go all out crazy, even beyond what he used to do to try and get in this guy's head, because maybe that's my only real chance. It was almost like his coach said it was like an ominous training camp. And why was it ominous? Because there was all these kind of little issues and build-ups. And I feel like as fans, there's times where I don't want to put a little loss out there. I don't want to put a little negative thing out there. But over time, these things are going to escalate into a problem if they're not addressed. So I think there needs to be a happy medium in these circumstances, if that makes sense. And how you know you get this is like City fans, because City Football Club keeps doing the right thing, and even if they make a mistake, they rectify it quickly. Their fans are just not angry. It isn't just because they're winning. They're not angry because the club is addressing the issues that would stop them from winning. And I just don't think, even though Liverpool have been very successful in
Like
the
with the
last
Cancelo thing, they weren't that mad.
exactly because they trust their club and they know the club's going to do the right thing. Where others, and you guys are very well run. You're just not as well run as Man City from an operations point of view, because City wouldn't have 4, 5, 6 players in your first team squad. You should have been sold 2, 3, 4. The fact Naby Keita's still at your club is a problem. The fact that Ox is still at your club is a problem. Now, you're nowhere near the issues that Man United have got. We're in even lower level, but the principle's still the same. And you just need to ensure that these little losses, some of them are literally losses on the pitch, and sometimes it's just, why are we giving him a new deal? Why hasn't he been sold? How the hell have we missed out on this transfer? Hang on. You said there was more money than ever available this summer, and we spent less than the previous 2 years. If that's not being called out and clubs aren't being held to account, you will go backwards. And
100%.
I think that's where fans need to come together a bit more. And you don't want to show your ass on everything and they're that dirty linen out there, but you have to address your problems for me. And, Man United fans quiet for too long or only noisy when it got really bad. It's like, where was this when we were winning? Like, we still need to be Glazer out, even if we win the league. Like, it can't stop just because you're happy for a moment. However, you don't need to be like, yeah, I'm really happy, and then go into a mad rant. You just have a bit of balance. But it's going to be an interesting summer for Liverpool.
There's two things I want to say just on the whole Liverpool thing. Here's the thing. Earlier on, we were talking about Arsenal and attraction and who you sign and etc. 18, 19, 19, 20, we were hands down one of the most, if not the most attractive club in Europe. Won the Champions League, won the Premier League. Harvey Elliott, Sepp Vandenberg, and Adrian. Imagine you have received, I still remember till this day, we started off that summer with an Mbappe link. Kylian Mbappe was actually genuinely linked to Liverpool Football Club.
Mbappe spoke about it in the summer after the window shut that Liverpool came in for him. He actually spoke. I remember.
I remember speaking about it too. And then we go from that to Harvey Elliott, Sepp Vandenberg, and Adrian. And this is for me the issue here. That when you're at the most attractive, you didn't use that opportunity to sign these amazing players. And the second thing is, if you want to be cheapskates, you can be cheapskates and smart. We're not cheapskates and smart like Brighton, where we buy from source country. We're cheapskates and stupid, where we wait for the guy to come to a Premier League club, play unbelievably well, be worth 70 million, and then go sign him. And third of all, the whole money thing that Terry mentioned. This is for me that what gets on my nerves. And this is why I've actually been calling out a lot of Liverpool journalists out lately. This is, the fact that Liverpool aren't going to finish in the top 4 2 months ago when it was like over for us was sort of a thing that they used as an excuse. Liverpool aren't going to get Champions League football. That's why we don't have money. Okay, so let me get this straight. So when we win the Premier League, we have no money. We win the Champions League, we have no money. We qualify for top 4, we have no money. We don't qualify for the top 4, we have no money. Is there a scenario in which we have money? And then these same journalists will come out 6 months later and go like, here's the yearly revenue report. Liverpool have made the second most revenue in Europe, but somehow they've decided to spend less money than championship clubs. Make it make sense? So these are the things that I always speak on. Like,
you know what I think is true? Do you know what I think is true on this now? And I'm starting to feel it more and more since it was revealed it's happening in Paris. I truly believe that clubs now pay journalists, pay radio hosts, pay Sky Sports people, pay content creators. I genuinely believe
100%.
And they give them briefings and they say, this is what we need you to say, or this is what we need you to push back against. This is the narrative. I'm at a point where I'm 80% sure that the certain fan channels, certain media outlets, certain journalists, certain TV companies push what clubs want us to believe when it isn't really the truth. And the reason you see that is like you've just said, every year, no matter win, lose, or draw, there's no money.
Yes. So is there a scenario in which we have money? That's my only question, genuinely. Like, I just want someone to answer me this. So I've given you all possible scenarios, and in every single scenario, we got no money. So this is my problem. And last season, for example, they made the excuse that because Liverpool were almost going to win a quadruple, the wage bonuses were massive. Okay, so let me use this season using last season's logic. This season, we won nothing. This season, we ain't about to finish in the top 4. This season, no one's winning the Golden Boot or the Golden Glove. So players aren't getting bonuses either. So where's all this bonus money that you're throwing in my face gone? So this is once again, like, these are the things that I speak about. Like, people have fully convinced themselves, and my fan base is the worst for this. Liverpool fans have fully convinced themselves that Liverpool are a broke club. I always tell people the same exact January window that Chelsea had, we could have this summer if we wanted to. Let's cut the crap now. Stop acting like Liverpool are broke. Liverpool are not broke. Liverpool can sign every single player they want to this summer. Liverpool could go out this summer, spend 300 million. Actually, via FFP rules, because we've spent so less over the last 5-6 years, Liverpool could spend 600 million in 2 windows without breaking FFP laws. That's how less we've spent compared to other teams. So this is now where all these conversations start arriving. Like, okay, we finished outside the top 4, spend money seriously now. And don't come tell me that the Champions League is the reason why we won't spend money, because that's just stupid. Because you told me when I qualified for the Champions League, I didn't have money anyway. So that shouldn't be making that much of a difference.
One of the other stories we were going to talk about today is the fact that Chelsea are willing this summer to buy Victor Osimhen. There's talk of a bid of around 120 for him. They're not worried about Napoli. They're willing to do it. Whether they land it or not is different from being willing to do it. They are willing to spend that money. And again, they haven't done a very good job of running the club thus far, Todd Bowley and co. But the one thing I don't think they're going to do is spend to a point where they bankrupt it. I don't think they'll do that. I think they will balance the books because they know they're going to get new sponsorship deals in and they'll pump the money into the club. And I look at that as a really... Look, I think if they add a Victor Osimhen or if they bring back Lukaku and he can actually turn into a goal-scoring player, Chelsea are going to... Even this Chelsea team this year with a striker scoring goals would probably be in the top 8, if that makes sense. They'd probably be in the top 8. They need a bit more than just a striker, and they need to clear out a lot of players. But Victor Osimhen will be a brilliant piece of business in my opinion. But it's proof to other clubs that you can go out and spend money. Man United, by the way, our board have done this 2, maybe 3 seasons running. There's no money to spend. Okay, last year we had journalists on this show, 100 million. So you got 100 million. We spent 204. People go, oh, it's because they released debt and they did this with the banks. But that was always doable. By the way, most clubs, I worked in this department of Barclays. Most clubs borrow money to buy players, especially big deals, because it's cheaper than spending your own money. The level of it might be a little different now because the base rate's gone up so high, but even then, that's not strictly true because the base rates on the savings account your money sits in has also gone up. Often at that level of banking, it was cheaper to borrow money than it was to spend it. So you'd borrow if you had to buy a club a lump sum, you might want to borrow 30 million and 1.5% interest versus taking it out of a kind of account that your money was sitting in that might have like 2.5% interest. And someone said to me on Twitter, but savings accounts don't pay that amount. Yes, not the average savings account you open down a high street in England, but when you get to that level of corporate and private banking, they've got mechanisms that earn a lot more money. So it's crazy to me. Like people say, United got no money this year unless we get a new owner. We've got money. Why do you think we're out there talking to Harry Kane, talking to Kim? We're doing that and we've got no way of buying people. Someone said the other day, we can't even sell people because of the debt against their names. We can't sell them. I don't know where people learn this fake finance from. It doesn't exist like that. Plus, as well, with FFP, it isn't even every year. You can actually lose money 2 years running. As long as by the 3rd reporting year, you haven't lost more than, I think it's 30 million, you're okay. So you've got time to rectify it. So even if you guys spent this summer and you had a loss of 100 million, as long as you don't lose 100 million, 100 million, 100 million 3 years, as long as by that 3rd reporting year, you break even, you're fine. Doesn't matter. For me, I look at Man United this way. I don't care how much profit we make. I care about how much money we invest in the club. All I want to make sure from a financial standpoint is we ain't going to go bankrupt. As long as we're not going to go bankrupt and literally shut down, I don't care how much we spend. I don't care what our wage bill is. The only time I moan about it being high is if we're not winning with it, which means you've wasted it on the wrong people. I honestly, 30 million euros.
By the way, there's even people in this comment section who still don't get it. People like Liverpool fans, and I swear, like Liverpool fans have just been programmed with the work of years of journalists and content creators just pumping them into this head. Oh, Liverpool only made 50 million profit last season. How could we spend this much money? This is the issue. Like, it's just basic finances are not understood. And on top of that, they have fully convinced themselves that Liverpool Football Club are actually broke. Can you imagine? A club worth almost the worth of Man United, the club making the second most revenue in the entire world, is a club that is broke. That is what they have fully convinced themselves of. So can you actually look yourself in the mirror and go like Forest can spend more money than Liverpool?
By the way,
Any of you people making that argument.
so
And by the way, the whole profit stuff, you look across the word profit and the word revenue. We know they mean two different things. But here's the thing when it comes to the profit thing. Do you think football clubs make that much quote unquote profit anyway? There's a difference between revenue and profit. And you know why? Football is not actually, when it comes to the whole profit margins, is not that much of a profitable sport, because it's about the revenues almost always go into development and improvement and structuring and blah, blah, blah. That is literally what happens at every football club. Most football clubs are not in profit. If Liverpool Football Club won the quadruple last season, we would have been at 7 million loss. It's normal. That does not mean that we cannot spend money. That's the thing.
bro,
Those two things are not linked.
it's so very, very true. And even with deals, so when it's the cost of deals year one is obviously a lot lower than people think, because stuff paid off over a period of time. Yes, there comes a point where if you keep spending and are on a loss every year in, year out, if your wage bill is higher than your turnover, like Portsmouth was, then you're in trouble. So nobody's talking about suicidal spending. But this nonsense that Liverpool and Man United don't have money to compete is crazy. Plus, your owners can pump money in. They can pump £100 million every 3 year in for transfers. But they can pump additional money into the club for salaries. They can pump other money into the football club for infrastructure rebuilds. So this nonsense there's no money is crazy. Like, literally, your owners could turn around and go, right, boom, we're going to pump in 50 million there to redevelop this. We can pump in 50 million there because we know we're going to increase the salary. We'll pump in 100 million to go into the transfer kitty. But by the way, them pumping in 50 million to cover wages gives you 50 million pound back for your transfers out of the normal turnover of the business. So theoretically, you can pump as much money as you want into the transfers as long as you're siphoning it off in a different way. Like, you can basically take from Peter to pay Paul. And listen, I'm not even an accountant. I don't really, that area of finance isn't my expertise, but I run a business, so I know where you can take money from to do other things and move things around. It's doable.